I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city and Also Ask is the only tool to access live People Also Ask data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
Just before I start, I'm from Bristol and my van's parked in Bristol, and I just got a phone call from the police saying there's a car next to my van on fire. So that's good. So if my phone goes, I'm just going to answer that because it'll be the police. It's just an odd way to start any talk, isn't it? Okay, so we've been slightly extended, but we are going to be talking about how to dominate social search with video. Okay, so we're at Brighton SEO. And obviously Brighton SEO, all the talks I went to this morning, I didn't understand quite a lot of, I have to say, but it's where we come as SEOs to squeeze that last bit out of our SERPs, right? Where we squeeze the lemon to get the performance out so we can drive traffic to our sites. So what better place to come and not talk about any of that stuff at all? We're not talking about any of those things because instead we're going to talk about these bad boys. We're going to talk about Instagram, we're going to talk about TikTok, and we're going to talk about Shorts because we're talking about social search. Okay, and the reason for talking about it is there used to be a time when you could have SEO, social media, video, and everyone had the little silos, didn't they? And I learned SEO and I learned about influencers, and those skill sets are completely mushing together to where the point of, I think, a sort of standalone SEO conference is kind of like, okay, where does SEO start and where does it stop? And none is more the case than with social search, which really is very much everything combined together. And for those of you who are not knee-deep in social search already, which I am, this is the kind of stuff that you're going to be watching every day.
TikTok doesn't know what your video is about. That's your fault. Let's talk about SEO. If you don't know who I am, my name's Andrea. I've already made $200,000 in commissions this year, $36,000 last month, and I've already made $36,000 this month. And you're going to want to save this post so you can reference back to it later. Because SEO is search engine optimization. And since people use TikTok to search things, learn things, and now buy things, it's going to work in your favor just as long as TikTok knows what the heck your video is about. And my SEO strategy can be summed up into 2 words. Don't guess. This is just how...
So anyway, you wouldn't want an hour-long presentation of it, but you get the idea. Okay, so when did social search first sort of pop up? Well, does anyone know who this chap is? This chap, Chief Technologist at Google, Prabhakar. I've tried to remember that as best I can. Chief Technologist at Google. He was having a chat about 2 years ago, off-the-cuff chat with TechCrunch. And he just said casually, in our studies, almost 40% of young people, when they're looking for a place for lunch, they don't go Google Maps or search, they go to TikTok and Instagram, completely undercutting the official line that Google is still the behemoth that runs everything. And obviously that was really the first time where we started to go, hang on, there's a landscape change here. This is really going to change what we're doing. And fast forward to 2025, 73% of Gen Z consumers use TikTok for search and more than half prefer it to Google. So all those wonderful things that we're doing on SEO, making sure Google is searching, sending traffic to our site, is becoming less and less relevant. Sorry about that. Okay, but I'm not a statistician. There we go. But Google search, shopping on Google search is down by 9.3%. Social shopping search sales up by 9.5%. So I don't know, there might be a correlation between those two. And here's why. Well, you go to Google search, you go to your Bing there and it's quite dry. What it doesn't have, which is what you get on social search, lots and lots of videos, lots of rich content, which people, especially young people, like watching. Which is why I was asked to talk about how to dominate social search with video. And it, for me, feels a little bit odd because really social search is video, right? It's like, yeah, there's keywords and stuff, but it is primarily a video content. So I'm going to be talking about that today. And I was thinking, how do I spend the next 16 minutes, which I've now got another 19 minutes because we've been extended. How do I spend the next 16, 20 minutes? I could talk keywords because we love talking keywords in SEO conferences. I could talk micro tactics. I could talk instead about things, big things that are going to make a big difference. So that's what I want to do. I want to talk about the macro things that you can put in place. And if you haven't got in place, you're basically a bit screwed. So rather than talking like super detailed stuff, I want to do those big things. So I'm going to talk about 8 big things. Who am I to be talking about this? Well, as you heard, Hurricane Social is I run the agency, and I'm also a very nerdy author. And I've written 2 books, and we're going to do a book giveaway. Yeah, woo! It's not edition 3, it's edition 2. But anyway, yeah. So we're going to do some book giveaways. Come on down the front. Okay, number 1 big thing, and I know we're supposed to be talking about sort of. Sorry, my girlfriend's telling me it's not on fire, so that's cool. I can concentrate now. The big thing I want to talk about is attribution first, because I know we're supposed to be talking about how to dominate social search with video, but attribution for me is the number 1 most important thing that we as marketers do not do, or certainly the brands that I work with are not thinking about it. Because as a marketer or an SEO or a technical person, we spend all this time making all this noise, making people aware, driving traffic, at which point the sales team become involved and they claim it as their own, right? We need to be attributing the work that we do. And obviously, you know, it's a very complicated world that attribution's in, and we can use GA4, which is very good. I'm suddenly talking SEO, folks, so you can understand it. GA4 is great for attribution. It's really good for kind of like looking at the journeys that people do when they get on site, but it isn't the whole story. And I would seriously, if you ever worry about like, how do we prove that the work we're doing is actually making money, take a look at Dub. I'm nothing to do with it. I don't get sponsored by it. I just happen to think it's a really good tool. It's a very, very sophisticated link shortener, right? And what it enables us to do is to lean into UTMs. UTMs are, you know, massively long form URLs that we can put on all of our content to track what they're doing. And first book giveaway, first hand, who knows what UTM stands for? Huh. Yes. What was it?
Urgent tracking.
Yeah, but you're hosting the stage. You still get a book. You get a book. Or give that later. Okay. Yeah, urchin tracking modules. Super, super nerd. Very good. One in the room. I should hope that's the case. But what it means is we can start using URLs that identify the source of the traffic, the medium of the traffic. Is it paid? Is it social? We can start putting it on our social posts. For example, in Action, we can do a nice long URL that says it's on Facebook. It was some paid social activity. It was part of our summer sale. And most importantly, they watched the carousel ad version 1. Okay, so we can put all of that. We can shorten it down. We can post it in our site, and we're good. Okay, number 1. 1 book to go. 1 book down, 3 more books to go. Algorithm. I mean, unfortunately, if you're in paid social or any kind of social, we are now the slave to this algorithm. We have to sort of bend down on our knees and basically do what it wants, right? And it's all about understanding what the algorithm wants and doing that. And what it does want is it doesn't care if you're having a good time. It doesn't care if it's good for you. It's the first time ever where really there's a publishing medium which doesn't really care about the experience. What it does care is that you watch all the time. It's about how long can we keep you watching. And so what they do care about is engagement rate, and total view time. So every time you're making content, every time we're doing anything, the big thing is not to get stuck in too many metrics other than how many people are engaging, how long are they watching? Because there's nothing that these channels like more than looping videos where people don't know where the end of the video is and they've watched it 3 or 4 times before they know it's even over. It's like that kind of metric is massive. So understanding and recognizing the algorithm just wants people to stay on platform as long as possible will make a big difference. The thing that the algorithm loves is authenticity. This is obviously what the algorithm loves, and it means real people, real situation, honest content. And I know that's kind of, we bandy it around, but that's much more difficult for a brand than we think it is, right? Well, we can be honest, we can be real. You can't be that real. Let me just show you an example. This is something that we did for Avanti West Coast. This is a paid placement, but we did 5 different versions. We did tests. Some were with a crew, some were very kind of polished. They didn't do at all well. Then we had some that the actress shot herself on her phone. They did quite well. This was the second best performing of the adverts that we put out. Have a watch, and I'm going to ask you why you think, for a book this is, why you think it was the second best performing.
I love saving money on travel. I just went from London to Glasgow by train and saved a small fortune, and it would have been 8 hours on a coach. I saved 42% because I booked 8 weeks in advance. Click the link in the bio for money-saving tips, or save this for later.
So it seems quite authentic, but not authentic enough. Anyone got any ideas on what was unauthentic about it? Yes?
Percentage.
The what?
Percentage.
Oh, the percentage? Yeah, that did seem quite corporate. I have to argue, but I was not the one I was thinking of. Yes.
Linkin Park.
Linkin Park is also not too bad. Yes.
Very scripted.
Very scripted. I'll give you that. Your two are good. It's the voiceover, because it's a post-recorded voiceover. Nobody posts things on voiceovers. What would have been far more authentic was the version we actually put out that did better, was just one that she recorded on the train to her camera. Right, as in, what would have been even more successful and more authentic is if we'd used the AI voice, and this is why I'm illustrating why it's difficult for brands. If we'd used the AI voice to voice over thing, because that's what the rest of the platform is like. Why didn't we use the AI voice? Because brand couldn't deal with the voice going Avanti. They couldn't, no matter how many times we tried to get it to say Avanti, we just couldn't do it. This is what I mean, that it's quite difficult for brands to be genuinely authentic, because at some point the brand team are going to go, you can't say that, that's dog shit, I can't do it. So, it's within reason. So you get book. You can look up book. So, okay. So the easiest way to be authentic is to build a micro-influencer content strategy. Basically, use content creators, use micro-influencers. And I always prefer content creators over micro-influencers because they do what you're asked and more. But the algorithms consistently rank creator content above brand content. It allows you to create at scale. And you can obviously ask those creators to include keywords and all the rest of it. When we're building a micro-influencer, macro-influencer campaign, you can use platforms like this. You're going to get them word on the block. There's the guild form, all those kind of things. I have never had a massive amount of success with these platforms. Basically, they outreach to influencers. They automate the whole process. You can get people to bid. There's probably some platforms here, so don't come and punch me. I've always had much better success by just doing social listening tools, the Hootsuite, the Meltwaters, all these kind of like listening tools. Find out who's relevant in your niche and just directly engaging with them. It's much better. So yeah, the tools are great, but you can just do it yourself, because if you dig around, you're going to find some gold. Okay, the next one. So I'm still reeling from the police thing. It's quite funny. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is niching. Okay, it's a really important, big thing that you need to understand if you're going to start doing social search. Let me just explain to you how the algorithm looks at niching. Okay, it's a bit of an example. Let's imagine that this circle is all of the interest groups in the world. It's everything you can possibly be interested in. And your brand says, we're going to be about cooking, right? This is our niche, right? Still pretty big. Everyone in the world has to eat. Maybe most of them have to cook. Okay, but you could be niche. You could do, we're going to have a niche about cooking curry. We are going to have a niche about cooking vegetarian curry, which gets smaller. We're going to do another thing about cooking vegan curry, which gets even smaller. Or we might be just going to have a super niche about growing vegetables to cook vegetarian curries, right? That's how niches work. And basically what happens is you go, that's my niche. That's what I'm going to make content on. So you make a piece of content about carrot curry, right? The algorithm already knows that you make pieces about vegetarian curry, so it goes, boom, I know what I'm doing with that. I've got an audience for that. I'm going to match those two things together, and it shows it to, sorry, I go back one. It shows that carrot curry to the audience. Loads of people watch it. Loads of people engage it. Remember, that's what the algorithm actually cares about, is engagement rate and watching. And it goes, yeah, great, I'm going to serve that more, and this way you get the tiers of views, right? But maybe there's someone in your marketing team that says, hey guys, we sell lots of different things. Does anyone say, hey guys, I don't know. We're going to do a piece of content about painting a door, because for some reason you decide we're going to paint a door. So the first thing that it does is the algorithm goes, wicked, I know your audience. I'm going to show the painting a door thing to your niche. And it bombs, right? And it bombs, and the algorithm doesn't know why. So that's already tanked, but it will do one thing first. It will just randomly show it to some audiences. So it will show it to a sort of traveler audience maybe, and maybe by luck it happens to show it to like a semi-painting audience, and it's got a bit of traction there. So what it does is sort of peppers it around there until it thinks it's found it. But basically, if that doesn't work within, half a day, few hours, it will just kill that piece of content because you've gone outside your niche. So think what your niche is, be super precise, use your tags, use your keywords, tell it what it's doing, and you will do much better. And part of that, engage with your niche, be part of the conversation, because if you're truly going to own vegan curry chat, make sure you're in there. Okay, 10 minutes left. Scale. The next thing I want to talk about is scale, because I don't think people comprehend how big the scale of social has to be to cut through. Again, the algorithm it favors lots and lots of content so it can really get its head into. Getting social posts at scale is the only way to consistently rank on social search. Doesn't matter how perfect those videos are, how well optimized, all that kind of stuff. What do I mean by scale? I mean lots of real people, lots of real situations, lots of honest content, handful of posts won't rank. And when I mean scale, I'm talking dozens, hundreds of pieces of content. And this is why micro-influencers are so good, because you can, for the same money as one macro-influencer, who's going to cost you 5, 10, 15, 20K, you can get a bunch of micro-influencers for 150 quid each, and that's how you get your scale, right? You can make loads and loads of them. And just as a case study, Viore earned 8 million views on TikTok and Instagram, made loads of money, drove loads of traffic. They did 2,000 pieces of creator content. So like, scale is not 5, scale is not 10, scale is like dozens or hundreds, right? Because that's how you're going to that's how you're going to rank, that's all that sort of stuff. Okay, then you can use that content across everything else and all those kind of things. But scale is so important. The next big thing to talk about is optimization. And this is your natural territory if you're an SEO, right? So I won't go too much into it, but you've got these kind of ranking factors, and there's no point me as an expert standing here and talking you through them, right? The one I would recommend talking about now is video quality, because quality is an ephemeral, like, what does quality mean? It means basically, weirdly, the picture can be as bad as you want, right? But the sound has to be good, because they search the sound, they listen to the words. So invest in some microphones, make good sound, and then just upload at the best quality. Go into your phone, make sure it's not uploading low quality. Go into your TikTok, make sure it's not downgrading. There is a thing on TikTok that says upload lower quality content if you're not on Wi-Fi. Turn that off. Make sure you're uploading big stuff. And I was going to tell you some of these ranking things, but I found this on TikTok, so I can have a break while you watch her.
If you're not including your keywords in these places, you're not doing TikTok SEO properly. The first one is your on-screen text. You would have seen this at the beginning of my video. It looked like this. The next one is the actual spoken words in your video. You want to do keyword research before you film, so you know exactly which keywords to use. If you're doing the previous step correctly, then you should also be including them in your auto-generated captions. Just before you post your video, the last place you want to include them is in the video's description. Here you're going to include all of the keywords related to your content, and any that don't fit naturally into the written text, include as hashtags at the end. The next two you're going to do to your profile. Choose the keywords that best suit your content overall and include at least one of them in your bio. As a final bonus step, include the most relevant keyword to all of your content in your name. You can see how I've done this here.
Couldn't have said it better myself. There you go. See, get that done. Better than writing it all down. Okay, so the only final tip I wanted to talk about, if you talk about improving rank in social search, is this little bad boy here. For some reason, we're not quite sure yet, TikTok will pick up on some keywords, right? It will kind of identify that as a keyword. It'll highlight it in blue. And that means that it's kind of tagging it for you and it's kind of collating stuff, and suddenly that becomes a nominally more important word. You've got no control over how to get that. We haven't figured it out yet. It just kind of picks it out. But if you go through your comments, if you find anything like that and you create content around it, you're obviously making content that TikTok itself has said is a keyword. Mind your comments for keywords and do that. Okay. I don't want to answer that. No, he's calling back. That's enough. Okay. Finally, paid media. Now, you can't avoid it anymore. I think there's a big thing. There's a lot of brands like, I'm quite suspicious of paid media. I want to focus on SEO. I want to focus on organic. You seriously need to be doing paid media to drive things. I would suggest that 40% of your campaign budget is going into paid media, whether that's paid ads on TikTok, Meta, LinkedIn, whatever the thing is. It's one of the biggest areas, which is really important. The main thing I like about it is you can prove results. You can say, look, this led to that led to that, we made some money. So yeah, it's time to kind of take your head out of your hands and proving that AI can now do fingers much better than it could do a year ago. Okay, and finally, and I know this is the wrong conference to talk about it, but really, building brand, I know it's probably not everyone's remit, but it's like doing paid ads, building that brand as long as you can, is going to make everything more effective, because your social search, people will see that they know your brand. Brand awareness will mean you're more efficient, your cost per click will go down, your cost per acquisition will go down. It's like, this is not the place for me to rant on about brand, but really That is so important if you're going to start making your paid social and your social search more effective. If you do want to know more about that, there's 2 books that you need to read. And if anyone hasn't read these books, How Brands Grow and The Long and the Short of It are like the Bible, and also listen to Ritson or whatever. Next question for book. Can anyone name the author of one of those 2 books? As a hint...
You? I don't believe that.
No, Byron Sharp. You get a book. Boom. I wish I'd written those books. That'd be well. No. What I mean is they're on my T-shirt. Okay, because that's how much of a marketing nerd I am. I have the name of famous authors on my T-shirt. Okay, so that's my book. So the 8 things we talked about today. Attribution. It's mega important that you put attribution in place so the work that you do gets recognized. Algorithm, you are its slave. Get used to it, deal with it. Be authentic, be as authentic as your brand will allow, and make sure you push back against your brand team who are saying, oh, we can't do that, because it's like, you have to. Niche, don't go outside your niche, double down on a niche. Be much braver with your scale. It's a lot more content that you need. Optimization, obviously, Google it, you can find all that out. Do lean into paid media, and please lean into brand building. That's me. I haven't quite filled. There's more of me. That's my book. That's for me on LinkedIn. That's my website. Thank you very much.
Demand Sphere. Limitless visual insights from the SERPs. Unlimited dashboards and users. Easy to use and easy to scale your growth to new levels.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.